Nehru and his vision of a modern India driven by science and technology led to the setting up of premier institutes of technology across the country. The idea was to train engineers who would develop and run the newly independent country's industrial and scientific establishment. The first institute was established in 1951 at Kharagpur in West Bengal, followed a year later by another in Mumbai, and soon after, one in Chennai. A fourth institute was proposed in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Kanpur was not the most suitable place for a technology institute of this kind. It was located away from any major metropolitan centre and lacked the kind of social or material infrastructure required to support an IIT. Equally hard was finding a suitable person to establish and run the place. The director's post was offered to Dr. P.K. Kelkar, and everyone was relieved when he agreed. But those who were close to him knew it was a decision made in difficult circumstances.
My father started that Bombay IIT as a planning officer, and then he was the deputy director of the institute. But appointment of the director, which was a political appointment, took place.
He was disappointed that the Bombay IIT job was given to somebody for some reasons other than qualifications, and especially somebody who was not in the academic world at all.
He had the option, I think, of going either to Chennai, Madras, or to Kanpur, and he chose Kanpur.
When I came to Kanpur to join as the director of the institute, almost everybody I met asked me if I wanted to commit professional suicide. I did not at all worry about this because I was no longer myself but an instrument of a historical process.
In 1959, IIT Kanpur commenced classes in rented space at the Harcourt Butler Technological Institute in Kanpur city with 100 students and a small faculty drawn primarily from local colleges.
डायरेक्टर साहब जहाँ बैठते थे वहाँ सारी ऑफिसेस थी उसी के अंदर एक स्टोर बना हुआ था और आपकी कुछ लैब केमिस्ट्री की फिजिक्स की मैकेनिकल में भी कुछ लोग आ गए थे।
वहाँ का माहौल बड़ा अच्छा रहता था। वहाँ पर ये नहीं पता लगता था कौन डायरेक्टर है, कौन प्रोफेसर है, कौन कर्मचारी है। सब लोग इतना एक दूसरे को चाहते थे, इतना कोऑर्डिनेशन अच्छा था कि वो लोग बड़ा प्यार देते थे हम लोग। हालांकि हम लोग वहाँ के लोएस्ट कर्मचारी थे।
We had hostel was a textile institute borrowed hostel which could house about like 70 some people. There were some day scholars from Kanpur, they were coming as day scholars. We didn't even have a bus. Everybody huddled into a truck, like the little blue truck, and we all like 50, 60 would pack and we would be driven to HBTI campus.
Dr. Kelkar now turned his attention to finding young faculty who would be open to his ideas about teaching engineering. The early faculty tell many stories about their first encounter with Dr. Kelkar.
I reached HBTI campus. There was no department, there was nothing like the head of the department whom you go and report. So I just went and knocked at the office of the director, and immediately I was ushered in. And when I walked into it, the first thing which I observed, most strikingly, that the director got up from his seat. You see. And when I walked, we shook hands, and he said, "We have just given birth to our civil engineering department."
Very easy for me to realize that here is a person who's going to employ me. He's the director of an institution that might become internationally famous. But that I have no reason to be afraid of him. And it also gave me the impression that he wanted to learn from the young people like me rather than hand over knowledge, perception and information down.
When we used to tell him that, look, we are very green kids. We have no experience, no teaching experience, and we are now asked to build up an institution. We sometimes feel very diffident. Then he said, look, I can bring professors with experience a dime a dozen. What they do is they bring the system with them. I don't want that. What will you young people do? You will break, you will burn, and out of this comes ashes. From the ashes, a phoenix will come out, and that will be IIT.